Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Katarina. I'm so excited about today's video. This is going to be the introduction for my Pan palette for 2023. I filmed in the beginning of December a video where I asked your help to choose my eyeshadow panning project for this year. And Pan palette is the one that got most votes. It got 4 votes in total. From the options that I had. Another suggestion that I actually really didn't think about that got 4 votes was the project Level Up from Sophie Alexandra, but I decided to do Pan palette since it is the one that I really want to do. This year I will be panning the Too Faced Chocolate Bar eyeshadow palette. Before getting any further, I want to mention that Pan palette is a project created by Amber F, so Amber is of course linked down below. I was thinking about doing 2 eyeshadow panning projects this year, one of them being more like panning project and one of them being more a rotation type of project. However, considering the current life situation of ours, I decided not to do 2 different projects, because in the summer when we are getting our new baby, I don't really know if I have that much time to film videos, to wear makeup, and it might get too overwhelming with 2 projects. However, I do still want to rotate through my collection, so I'm going to do that. I am just going to dump all of that into these Pan palette videos. So what I will be doing is that I will pick a companion palette for a month. Some months I might not pick it if I don't feel like it, or if I feel there is enough to work on this one. And also I will do a seasonal build your own palette. However, the companion palette and the build your own palette I will always talk about in the end of the video, after I have talked about the main Pan palette. So yeah, I will be panning the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I absolutely do love this eyeshadow palette. It's my favorite palette. It is also my oldest palette, and I actually, now that I have been using it for a couple of times and I have been swatching the eyeshadows, I do notice that they don't quite perform the same as they used to. This is old. It is going to be 8 years old next summer. So now it is exactly the time to get more use and love out of this palette. Let me show you what the palette looks like at the moment. I will put here a picture. So let's talk about my goals for this palette this year. Well, the main goal is just to get more use out of this palette, so that by the end of the year, when it is time to put this one away, I'm not going to throw it away, I'm going to put it to my memory box, because I am sentimentally attached to this palette. This one was my first high-end eyeshadow palette. And yeah, palettes like that where I'm really sentimentally attached to, they go to my memory box. The only palette there currently is my completely empty Modern Renaissance. But when the time comes in the end of the year to let go of this palette, I want to be happy to do so, and I want to feel that I got enough use out of this palette and I got my money's worth. There is 16 shades in this palette, and I have hit pan on 6. So there is 10 more shades to hit pan on, and I do want to hit pan on every single shade. I don't think it's going to be impossible, but I think Too Faced formula is more difficult to pan than a lot of other formulas. So I think it's going to take a little bit time until I start to see like really good progress with this, but we'll see. Maybe the progress will happen sooner than I expect. Then I would like to finish a couple of shades. So shades that I know that I at least want to finish are White Chocolate, Marzipan and Creme Brulee. White chocolate is something that I can use multiple different ways. So every time that I do my eyeshadow look, I can set my primer with it. I like to set my primer with Too Faced eyeshadows because they can be quite pigmented, and I feel I have more control with shades this pigmented when I set my primer. And then I can wear this all over lid shade with a really neutral basic matte look, and then of course as a brow bone highlight. Then Marzipan and Creme Brulee are really the only kind of like shimmery lid shades in this palette that I would like to wear all over my lid. The only kind of issue that I do have with this palette is that For my taste, there is not enough of those lighter shimmery lid shades. There are quite a bit of darker shimmers. On that sense, maybe I wish the palette was more balanced and there was not quite many dark shimmers and a little bit more light shimmers. But either way, I love this palette. But because there are not that many light shimmery lid shades, I think finishing these will be pretty easy. And that allows me also to play with other eyeshadows from my collection. And then possibly I could finish some other mattes, like milk chocolate, salted caramel, semi-sweet, strawberry bonbon. I'm not really sure at this point. I feel Too Faced mattes particularly are harder to pan than some other mattes, like let's say ABH is something that I do have experience on panning, or BH Cosmetics is another one. Those are way more powdery eyeshadows, so they go quicker. But because those are kind of like basic mattes, especially like milk chocolate, salted caramel, semi-sweet, you know I will use them almost daily on my looks, not necessarily all of them. By the way, today I'm wearing from this palette white chocolate, milk chocolate and triple fudge. But yeah, that is what my palette is looking like right now. For January, I don't necessarily really have that much of goals. Like usually when I start a palette with a new palette, I just want to kind of like get to know the palette and get a feel of it. And then later on I will start picking some focus shades. But the only shade that I know that I do want to put some extra effort into right away is Candied Violet, because it's my least favorite shade from the palette. So the sooner I start working on it, the better, because I don't want there to be like a month where I need to use it every single time that I do my makeup look to hit pan. So yeah, I want to start working on it right away, try to sneak it into everyday looks, maybe create like a bolder purple look. And also one nice thing about this shade is that it works perfectly as a nail polish topper for one of my nail polishes. I will say I have not painted my nails in 3 months, I have been so lazy, but I will put to another project pan a couple of my nail polishes, and one of them is something that I can use Candied Violet as a topper for that nail polish. So yeah, that's another way I know I will get some use out of this. This is going to be my Panda palette for 2023. I am so excited. Then let's talk about the companion palette. So the companion palette I will pick for each month if I feel like it. So it's something I can do, but I don't have to. But for now I am going to choose one for January, and it's going to be my Urban Decay Naked Smoky Eyeshadow palette. I would say this is truly a smoky palette. Half of the shades are cool toned smoky shades. So everything from Armor until Password are those really typical smoky shades. But what makes me love this palette is that there are also some little bit warmer, more neutral and lighter shades. So the 3 first shades and the 3 last shades. Well, the brown whiskey is pretty dark one, but you know, it's brown, so I do like brown eyeshadow. I basically wear brown eyeshadow almost every day that I do my makeup look, and this is something that would work on my brows. But the eyeshadow I will mainly use as a brow color is the Triple Fudge from the chocolate bar. But yeah, this truly is a smoky palette, and perhaps that is the reason why I have not gotten that much use out of it, because for me this is not really that everyday appropriate, but I think it's a really wintry palette. So that's why I wanted to choose it to be my companion palette. For my companion palette, the only goal that I do have for each month is to use all of the eyeshadows at least once. I could create looks only from this palette to reach that goal, or I could sneak the eyeshadows to my palette looks, whatever I choose. So yeah, that's the only goal that I do have for this palette, but it has been a while since I have worn this, probably like a couple of years already, so it is time to use it a little bit more and see if it still works. But yeah, I'm also kind of sentimentally attached to this palette because I used to always create party looks out of this when I still used to party, so yeah, that's why this is probably another palette that will go to my memory box at some point, but I would still love to get a little bit more use out of this palette before that So yeah, that is going to be my companion palette for January. Then the last thing is that I have created a seasonal build your own palette for winter. So this palette is going to be around from January until the end of March. Then for spring I will pick something new. Let me show you what this palette looks like. Now with this palette the idea is not even create complete looks out of this palette. I just picked there some singles that I do like, that I would like to get more use out of, that I think are seasonally appropriate. So as you can see here, there are some cooler toned eyeshadows, some green, some red. There is also one blush that I'm going to put to another project pan a little bit later when I have time to film the intro. So let me quickly tell you what the shades here are. The three first shades are debotted from the KVD Shade and Light Eye Contour palette, which yes, I did debot it. I'm thinking of filming still an eyeshadow declutter video where I will show what shades I decided to declutter from the palettes that I debotted. And yeah, there's a couple of other palettes that I decluttered, but I have not had time to film it yet, so we'll see if I'm going to film it. Let me know if you want to see which eyeshadows I let go of my collection. But yeah, then there is one shade from the Jeffree Star Androgyny eyeshadow palette. This one I'm wearing today as my transition shade. Then I do have a couple of shades from the Balm. One of them is from the Meet Matte Nude and one of them from the Meet Matte Trimony palette. I wanted to pick some kind of like red eyeshadow here for the sake of Valentine's Day and Valentine's season in February. Then there is one small deep teal shade from the Balm. It's from the Balm Wash 2 palette. There is this light lilac shade from BH Cosmetics. Then there is my only matte black eyeshadow left in my collection. It is from Colourpop, so it's something I might use as a liner. Then there is the Makeup Geek Luna shade, I think it is. It's a cooler toned rose gold, so exactly something I would enjoy as an all over lid shade and not something that I could find from the chocolate bar. Then there are a couple of other shades from the Balm, so shimmery white. It's really something I would only use as a highlighter, but I wanted to pick it since it's such a wintry shade. And then there is like a satin finish True Champagne. I absolutely love this kind of shade. I have not allowed myself to wear this enough, so it's not something I could find from chocolate bar, so I decided to pick it. Another shade that I could wear all over my lid. Then the larger shades. There is the taupe over here. That is from Essence. Taupe is something I do really enjoy in winter. Then there is the mint green. It's from the Juvia's Place the Douche palette. And then the three other shimmers, the really blinding ones, are from the Gimme Glow Cosmetics Christmas Morning eyeshadow palette. Today I'm wearing the silver all over my lid. I'm filming on New Year's Eve, or it is still day, but anyways, I felt that I want to do this kind of like festive, cool toned look for the sake of New Year's Eve. These are the kind of like companion shades that I will have for chocolate bar for the next 3 months. And for these I might have actually some goals. So first of all, I would like to hit pan on the Jeffree Star eyeshadow. I think it's called Shave Word. So yeah, I would love to hit pan on that. In chocolate bar, I could use the shade Milk Chocolate straight as my kind of like crease and transition shade. However, I would typically like there to be a transition shade, a hint lighter, and this is exactly something like that for really neutral or even slightly cool toned looks. Then in chocolate bar there is of course the shade Salted Caramel, but it doesn't work with a more cool toned look. Are there other shades that I would like to hit pan on? Maybe not actually. I think it might be a little bit, you know, too hefty of a goal to say that I want to hit pan on Luna, for example. Maybe this is something that I could also choose to this palette in spring, and then it could be doable to hit pan, but I don't know. I don't want to promise that. Hitting pan on Safe Word is like the only goal that I have for these shades. However, in general, I do want to get more use out of these shades. I have not really used my singles at all in 2022, so in 2023 I want to fix that and show more love for my singles. That was everything for my Pan That palette intro for 2023. Let me know if you have anything to ask, so I will answer in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please put thumbs up, and if you would like to see my journey panning the chocolate bar and rotating through my collection with the companion palette and with the build your own palette, please subscribe. I would really love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next one. Bye bye.